Our friend Hope Zvara is with us with Mother Trucker Yoga. This is Tim Ridley on Sirius XM Satellite Radio. 36 minutes past the hour as we go into this segment with Hope and another great topic. The one thing that people can do to bring happiness and joy. Hope, good morning to you.
Good morning, Tim, and good morning to everybody tuning in on this early morning.
Absolutely. How are you doing this morning?
I am doing fantastic. It is. I'm in Wisconsin, and so it's in full transition. We are headed into fall, and I'm okay with that.
Yeah. Are you more of a summer person, fall person, spring, or winter?
You know, I love summer, but I'm the humidity. We're a 2-shower state in the summertime, so it's a bit much. But I love the fall in the Midwest because of the colors, Tim. The trees are gorgeous, and you just don't get that anywhere else.
Yeah, they are beautiful. You're absolutely right on that. And it's always great to have you on. Such joy that you bring and happiness. And that's what we're going to be talking about this morning. And so many people are hurting, and it just hurts me to see so many people hurting and angry and just kind of lost, so to speak. So a great timely topic. So let's jump right in, Hope.
Absolutely. Well, I thought with everything that's going on, all these natural disasters, just people struggling with the economy. And, I feel like over the years, and I think social media plays a little bit of a role in this, and just we're so connected, but yet we're not connected. People are unhappy. People are stressed. People are just really feeling disconnected from life. And that makes me sad. I know what rock bottom feels like. It's not cool. It's not fun. It definitely is not somewhere we want to stay for long. But this idea of happiness and joy, for those of you listening, it is available to you. It is a tangible thing that you can grab onto that you can have today, but you have to work for it. You're going to have to do a little bit of work and put a little bit of effort in, because we've programmed ourselves over the years to have habits and routines that maybe haven't led us in the direction that we've been wanting to go, intentionally or unintentionally. If we just take inventory of ourselves, the average person takes roughly about 60 to 70,000 thoughts a day. That is amazing.
Yeah, that is.
Can't comprehend how our brain can even have that many thoughts in 24 hours. Unbelievable. But what's more interesting is that more than 90% of our thoughts are thoughts of yesterday. Thoughts that we've already thought about, we've already analyzed, we've already had over and over again, we've come to terms with or haven't. That means that only 10% of what we're thinking on a daily basis is meant for new ideas, new expectations, a new future. We're just repeating the past over and over. And for those of us that are struggling or may have had hardship or are just kind of living in survival mode, how do we ever expect to get out of it if we don't start thinking about something new? And I would love your input on this, Tim. It is hard, right? It's hard to think good thoughts. It's hard to be positive. Like we wake up and say, I'm going to be positive today. And then someone cuts us off and it's like, mother trucker.
There's always someone out there ready to steal your joy, isn't it? Just as you're going along, mind your own business. And like you said, someone will cut you off or do something stupid. But I think hope is starting out with a grateful heart. From the time that you open your eyes, you start right there. You're thankful for being able to see another day. And I start that way every morning, just being thankful. And because there are so many people that went to bed last night but didn't wake up this morning, but I was able to wake up, woke me up this morning, and and to see another day. So I think that's one way of starting, one way to having a better day and to having the attitude of happiness, basically, or the feeling of happiness rather, and joy, just starting your day like that.
Absolutely. And even more importantly, for those of you listening, if you go to bed, before you go to bed, and you can take even just 60 seconds, a minute, and settle yourself down, focus on your breathing, maybe 3 breaths. But if you can focus on positivity and a positive future for yourself before you go to bed, visualizing what your life could be like, what you want it to be like, gratitude, like Tim said, whatever you are thinking about and whatever is kind of on your heart, on your mind before you go to bed, that's what your subconscious is going to replay over and over and over and over again. And so if you're going to bed angry, or you're going to bed and just watched a murder mystery, and that's what you're thinking about, that's what your subconscious mind is rehearsing. If you're thinking about how someone said something to you 9 years ago and never apologized to you, and how dare they, and now you have this hostility and resentment inside of you, that's what your mind is memorizing. And then you're feeling that, like you're bringing it to life, and you're feeling that. And when you wake up in the morning, what Tim is trying to do and is doing successfully is going to be even harder, because you're waking up angry, because you're waking up upset. And so here's something that I learned from Dr. Joe Dispenza that I absolutely love. The feelings are the language of the body, and the actions are the feelings are the language of the brain, and the actions are the language of the body. And so what we're feeling is really dictating a lot of what it is we're thinking, and how it is that we're acting, and how it is that we're projecting ourselves out in the world. And so we can reverse engineer this. If we're being driven by our thoughts, and we're being driven by our feelings and our emotions, and that's really how we're making up our day. When I kind of took inventory of this and kind of did a self-audit of myself over a day, I was, many years ago, I was pretty disgusted with myself, that how angry I was and how bitter I was, and how everyone was always doing something wrong. Like it was always them, Tim. It was never me. It was always them. Their problems. They're making me do these things. They're making my life miserable. And I started to take inventory on that, and realize that so much of my life was being dictated by negativity, but also by me dragging the past into the future, not letting people's, missteps go, holding them hostage to it, as well as to myself. I started to dig into, how do I change these patterns? I did the therapy thing. I did, all these other things, and they kind of helped. But I felt like I was stuck. I felt like I couldn't get past this hump into this space of waking up and feeling happy and feeling good about my life. And yeah, there's challenges, there's obstacles, but I wasn't handling them well. I was a short fuse. And one of the things that I discovered was this idea of neuroplasticity and rewiring the brain. And in order for us to reinforce new neural connections, new little snaps in the brain, new little connections, new little sparks in the brain, and reduce old unharmful patterns, reduce the past, just this repetitious robbing of our joy and happiness that's happening inside of ourselves. We have to regulate our thoughts and our feelings. And when we do that, our actions and our outlook starts to change. So the question is how? How do we do that? Well, for many of us, and I would love your input on this too, is, when we're upset, right? When someone does something or we're triggered by something, we usually start to go back into our big vault in our brain of our past experiences, because that's what's real to us. And we go back and we look, and it's like, oh, that thing made me angry. That's very familiar. So I'm going to feel anger right now. And then we replay that anger videotape about this one situation. And now our thoughts are negative. Our feelings are replaying this negativity from the past. And guess how we act now? We act in that way.
Yes.
Now we're living that way. And so how do we change that? That's the question, right?
Yeah. How do we change that? That is absolutely right. We're going to pull over and take us a break, talking about happiness and joy, how to bring that into our lives. 615-292-6366. This is Tim Ridley along with Hope Zvara. We'll be right back here on Sirius XM. The one thing that people can do to bring happiness and joy. This is what's on the table for discussion with Hope this morning. This is Tim Ridley on Sirius XM. Hope, let's head to the phone lines, and we have Santa with us. Santa, good morning. You're live on the show with Hope.
Hey, morning. How are you? By the way, Tim, the 80 East 249 mile marker is backed up. Big construction down to one lane, eastbound in Pennsylvania.
Okay, appreciate that.
So, Hope, I went to Tibet years ago, and I learned something when I was there, how to get that happiness. And Tim will tell you, I'm happy every day. I don't care what a day it is and what happens in life. I'm still happy. Hope, I learned that you got to come to peace with yourself before you can get happiness. So that was one of my biggest things I've learned. And
I love that.
Wonders. So, and I give happiness to everybody now. I don't care who you are, what you did. You have peace inside because you came to peace with yourself. Whatever's happened in your past life or whatever, put it aside. Whatever you've seen, and just enjoy life and make everybody else happy, and your peace inside will make everybody happy. And that's what I've learned. And I'm going to tell you, that's probably the best thing that's ever happened to me in my life. It's that peace inside. So that's my input in this whole thing. And you know, people have a lot of stress today and a lot of problems, like you said. You're totally right on spot. But people have to learn how to put everything aside and just move on. And if they don't, it'll kill them. That's the honest opinion.
Thank you so much for sharing your insight and wisdom. I love this. This is spot on with our conversation today. Thank you so much.
Absolutely.
You all take care. Laugh a lot. That's the key. I'll tell you that right now.
That's right. Santa, we appreciate you, brother, and thanks for all you do.
Thank you. Take care.
All right. And he's right, and he's no matter what he's going through, he always has that positive attitude. And another thing, Hope, my mother used to tell us growing up that you have to be very selective in terms of your friends. And, you know, you'll end up, you know, you just think about your 3 closest friends or your 5 closest friends, and you'll end up like them. If they're negative, that's how you're going to be. If they're positive, that's how you're going to be. And a lot of times we don't realize it, but sometimes the people that we're hanging with can just suck the life and the joy and the happiness right out of us. And we're walking around just like they are, you know, unhappy and angry and complaining. So that's another thing, too. Basically, just dissecting your life. Think about who it is that you're hanging around with. Think about what's causing you to feel to not be filled with happiness or joy, or what's making you sad. Just sit back and just dissect it, even if you have to write it down on paper. When I was counseling, this was years ago in the service, and that's one of the things I would have my troops do is to, whoever it was I was counseling, just take a piece of paper, a sheet of paper, and just write down, what is it that's making me sad? What is it that's stealing my joy? And then you work it from that point up, and sometimes it's what you have to eliminate in life that's taking your joy.
And it's sometimes you can't see it until you are doing practices like that. And so here's the one thing I want everyone to think about today, and maybe to practice and try, and you might be surprised it's not as easy as you think, but repetition is key here, is You can do this, maybe while you're driving and just at a lower level, but maybe before you go to bed at night or when you have a little bit of off time. Is really the key here is not just to think the thoughts of positivity, like I'm going to be joyful today. Like many of you listening, we've tried that, and an hour in, you're all of a sudden road raging worse than yesterday. It's not just about talking about the things. Like I'm going to be positive, like saying those affirmations or saying those things. What we want to do is we want to feel them. We have to feel it like it's real, like it's happening. And so this is a form of visualization and meditation. And so if we take the feelings, the thoughts, and the visualization, and we combine them all together, we can start to kind of train our brain into a new reality. And so if we are always thinking about the past, we're going to relive the past. If we're always thinking life sucks, it's always going to be sucky. And the reason why we keep repeating that pattern is because we're adding in the feelings of it. Now we're feeling hostility. Now we're feeling anger. Now we're feeling frustration. But then we have this like autopilot switch that goes on that we don't even know we're behaving in the way that we do. It's like, well, when I wake up in the morning, I always get coffee. And as I'm getting my coffee, I think about how stressed I am. And as I think about how stressed I am, then I get angry and I can feel my teeth gritting. Like, here's this pattern we get in. So we have to disrupt the pattern. And so I challenge you, if you're listening, at least once today, maybe 2 or 3 times if you can really challenge yourself, to not only think positive thoughts about your life and what your future could be like, even if you feel like there are a million voices in your head saying you could never get that. That would never happen. Are you aware of the economy? Like, okay, yeah, yes, brain, I am. Okay, and think about what kind of future you want in a positive way. And then I want you to have to feel the emotions that would match that thought pattern. Feel what it would be like to live in that house, or to wake up and your route to go right, or for your family to be healthy, whatever it is that you want. Don't judge it. And then match the actions that go with that. How would someone behave that is living that life? How would someone act that is living that life? How would someone treat others or themselves that was living that life? And you might discover that this thing that you keep telling people you want, or telling yourself that you want, isn't matched or isn't backed with any level of support that is going to push you in that direction. And so, yes, we need to have gratitude, but feel the gratitude. Feel what it's like to be grateful for the house, for the family, for the job. Like, you have to push yourself into those feelings and emotions and not just think it. And the second you start doing that, the cool thing about the brain is it has no idea of what is real and what is fake, what has happened in the past and what hasn't even happened yet. So you can train your brain into a level of thinking and behavior and outlook that hasn't even occurred yet. You can start rehearsing your future life now, and then your actions, you're going to be blown away by this. Your actions are going to start to follow that type of thought pattern. But for those of you listening, if you're speaking one thing, thinking another, and acting another, you will be caught in this pickle paradigm of unhappiness for the rest of your life. But you have a ticket out, and that ticket out is thinking, is feeling, and is taking action in a way that is the future you want to live. Couple that with gratitude, and you have a supercharged habit that you can do anytime, any day, to catapult you into a happy, joyful life.
Absolutely. Visualization. Visualize it. You're absolutely right. And we do have an email, Hope. He says, thank you for this topic, and he wants to thank Santa for what he said as well. And he goes on to say, Hope and Tim, you hit the nail right on the head with your thoughts and with your suggestions. And he goes on to say, Hope, that he had to do the same thing to think about what it was that was bothering him. I went through life very, very unhappy. I've gone through life very, very unhappy and no joy at all for the last several years. And I sat down and thought about it, and I realized it was social media. I would go on one site to search for bad news, and then the algorithms would send me to other sites, and I would spend sometimes 2 hours just looking at nothing but bad news. By the time I finished, and this is kind of a lengthy email, by the time I finished, I was ready to go out and hurt the entire world. That's how angry I was. And so to end, I'm just going to skip down at the bottom. He says, but I realized that it was social media that was stealing my joy. So now I'm social media free. I am happy, and I try to help others to be happy as well. Keep up the good work, Hope, and we always appreciate you when you come on.
I love that. And so recognizing your environment, changing your actions, changing your thoughts, changing the feelings associated that think about and pay attention to when you start to experience something today, what feelings follow. Like if someone cuts you off, are you immediately enraged? Are you able to breathe and be like, person must be in a hurry. I hope that they get there safely. And so notice how you are the person in charge of your happiness, no one else. You only let people take that joy away. So today, my friend, keep your joy and share it with others.
Tell everybody real quick how they can get in touch with you.
Absolutely. You can find me at mothertruckeryoga.com or any social media channel at Mother Trucker Yoga. Goodbye, my friend.
All right. Thanks, Hope. We appreciate you. Thanks to each and every one of you as well. Have an awesome day and be happy and smile.